Well, hey, good morning, everybody. Getting ready to go to work after this Labor Day. Weekend went by real fast. My wife is at home because she came down with something, as what usually happens when you work with a bunch of kids. And yeah, she had to stay home. I didn't want her to, but when I heard her this morning, she sounded really sick. And so she got to stay home. And she's staying home with our quote unquote daughter. As you all know, we adopted a kitten a little more than a week ago. Actually, we adopted two kittens, and one of the kittens died Monday of last week, and it broke my heart, because I'm a cat person, and whether it be an animal or a person, to see someone or something die that young, it really tugs at the heartstrings. But the one we got, I took her to the vet, and she checked out all right and everything. I think I talked about this in the last video. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today, I don't know, it might be a hodgepodge what I want to talk about. Someone sent me a message this morning about a transgender who shot and killed a man. Shot and killed a man, who confronted him because the man, well, this person is a transgender woman, which means they're a fake woman. Whenever you hear the word transgendered man or transgendered woman, it means fake. But this person was, the man had just dropped off his 6-year-old child at school, and he saw this transgendered woman, this man, spraying graffiti on a bridge, and he confronted him. And the man called 911 to report the incident, and while he was calling 911, the fake woman shot and killed him. Now, this fake woman had been arrested before for attacking someone with a machete. And one thing I don't understand about our justice system is how they go light on these people that commit these crimes. That's one aspect of this story. I don't understand our justice system. You get these criminals out here, they shoot, kill somebody, or they threaten somebody or whatever, and they just smack them on the wrist and say, don't do that again. And then they go on to do something even worse. Of course, you can't predict that a person is going to do something or whatever, but I'm like this. This is my thought. If you do the crime, you need to do time. I believe in being merciful, I do. But if you commit something that is worthy of punishment, the punishment needs to be carried out. It needs to be carried out. And I see it so many times with these young people, because you're getting a spate of minors going out committing crimes, carjacking, shooting and killing folks and whatever. And these youngins, they get sent to juvie, and when they turn 21 years old, they're released because that's the law. And I think the law needs to change. The law needs to change. Because too many times these people get away with they get away with fairly serious crimes, and then they go on to do something worse. And I think the problem is, it's not the police. The police are not the problem. Yeah, you got your police officers that can be kind of grumpy and whatever and stuff like that, but the police are not the problem. It's these judges. And the police know it too, because the police are like, why are we arresting anyone? Because when they go to court, they just slap them with a fine, or certain amount of time or whatever, or they don't even do prison sentence at all. They do a plea deal, and then they're back out on the streets. And I'm like this: if you are a murderer or stealing or whatever, you need to do the time. You get caught shoplifting, mandatory 1 year sentence. No plea deal. In the book of Ecclesiastes, I believe it's the 8th chapter and the 11th verse, and I can't quote it verbatim, but it says, because you don't deal with these crimes speedily, then it is set in the heart of people to do evil. You had to hit them hard, really. You had to hit them hard. And one thing I don't understand is, if someone breaks into your house, threatens you, your family, or whatever, and you end up shooting and killing them, you have less rights than the criminal does. That is something I do not understand. Why the laws favor the criminals more than the victims. And they treat the criminals as the victims. If you are caught defending yourself, you shouldn't have to do any time. If it has been proven that you're defending yourself from harm, you shouldn't have to do any time. Now, there was this case of this guy. I heard this last week. I was watching Matt Walsh. And this guy, someone had tried to break into his car 3 times. And the 4th time, he decides to do something about it. He chased the guys that were trying to break into his car. He pursued them. When they saw him, they hopped into a car, which was stolen. And he pursued them. They crashed the vehicle. And when they got out, he started shooting. One of the perpetrators got killed. Another got hurt. And these kids were like 14, 16 years old. Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm not so sure that what he did, by pursuing these kids was the right thing to do. But his car had been broken into 4 times. Someone tried to steal his car 4 times. He decided to do something about it. Now, he was charged with murder, with the death of one of those kids. And he received a 52-year sentence for it, which means this guy, he won't be getting out. They say he won't be eligible for parole until his 80s. And the kid's family and friends, they got up there, made victim statements. One of the kids who was with him stealing a car who had gotten injured. He was like, yeah, I won't be able to see my friend anymore, and yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting here like, did we forget that these kids, what happened to the kid that survived? Did he do any time or anything? All we're seeing is, you know, he's making a victim statement. Yeah, I won't be able to see my friend anymore or whatever. And, you know, well, I'm like this. You shouldn't have been out there stealing cars. You should have been out there trying to steal someone's car. Now, the consequences of you going out, you don't know what these people are. If they catch you, like I see these porch pirates sometimes, if they catch you and whatever happens to you is a consequence of your actions. Now, I don't condone just killing people wantonly or anything like that. I don't condone that at all. I'm not so sure that I would condone this man for pursuing the would-be robbers or the would-be car thieves. And here's the thing. Where's the supervision in their homes? Where's the supervision? Did they, you had one uncle get up. He said, yeah, I told them, you know, you can't be going out here doing this and everything. But they were still taking the part of the victim. They weren't the victims. If they were the victims, they victimized themselves. And how many times do these kids get out here, like up in Washington, D.C., 2 girls, one was 13, one was 15, carjacked a taxi cab driver. He ended up losing his life. And when they convicted the girls, one of the girls muttered under her breath, well, if he had just given me my cell phone back, he'd be alive today. These girls get convicted and they will be out back on the street when they turn 21. I think we should be giving some severe penalties, sentences to a lot of these youths that go out here. If you think you're big enough to commit a crime, then okay, we'll treat you just like an adult. And folks, please excuse me when I say this, I think they should be giving death penalty to some of these kids out here. And no, I did not mince my words when I say that. When I said that, I think they should give the death penalty to some of these kids, because they can go out here, they can kill somebody, but they basically get a slap on the wrist. Oh, juvie hall, 20 till you turn 21 and get back out, and you can do it again. Seems like we don't care about that. We always, oh, their children. But if you are old enough to think you're responsible enough to kill somebody, then you need to take the responsibility for your actions. But anyway, getting back to my original incident, this dude thinks he's a woman, which he is not. And it kind of echoes an incident that happened a few days ago with another transgender went to a Catholic school, shot it up, killed 2 kids. And I think that shooter killed himself. I think it was another transgender. Some time ago, another transgender shot up a Christian school. Killed some kids, you know. And I don't think the problem is transgenderism. I really don't. I think the problem is our justice system. Now, transgenderism is a sin, you know, and there's no way I can get around that, you know. If you're transgender, you want to do that type of thing, you make your choice and everything, you go right ahead. But transgenderism is a sin. If you are a woman, you cannot just transition to be a man. I don't care what kind of manly clothes you put on or whatever. Same thing if you're a man. You could put on all the womanly clothes and everything and take all this hormones and whatever. You're still a man. And why we give provision to these people that, you know, we pass laws. You can't if you attack a transgender, you know, it's a hate crime or whatever, things like that, which you shouldn't be attacking anybody. I'm not saying that if you're transgender, then you need to be attacked by somebody. But I will say this: if you want to live that life, you best accept the consequences that come with it. You best accept the consequences that come with it. But transgenderism, homosexuality, this LGBTQ nonsense they've been talking about for several years now is not of God. No, men cannot have babies. Only women can have babies. And just because you put on makeup and call yourself a woman, that does not mean that you are a woman. You are still a man. If we got some of your chromosomes and analyze them under a microscope, your chromosomes will say you are still a man. Same thing if you are a woman pretending to be a man, your chromosomes still say that you are a woman. And just because someone speaks out on your lifestyle, that does not mean that they are committing hate speech. Now, where's this hate speech argument when someone who is a Christian gets attacked by somebody like an atheist or something like that? Where's this hate speech stuff then? Is anyone going to convict these transgender shooters of a hate crime because they attacked the church? Nope. They'll say, well, you know, this person is transgendered. Society doesn't want to accept this person, and that's why they snap. And so this person, these people, they usually end up killing themselves, or they're not going to get a lengthy jail time. Not like the guy that chased down those 2 kids and killed one of them. But where's the hate crime for that? Where's the talk of the hate crime? You know, because it seems like the laws are for everybody else, but if you're a Christian or if you're conservative, oh, all of a sudden hate crime laws don't apply. Oh, they just snapped, you know, because they heard hateful, they were subject to hateful rhetoric, and they just snapped. And so, you know, we'll just act so-called accordingly. But our justice system is messed up. It is jacked up to the heights. You know, every time Donald Trump passes a law or makes an executive order or something, you got some judge, some activist judge that wants to pull it down, even though what Donald Trump is doing is for the betterment of everybody. But because Donald Trump is somebody that a lot of people don't like, they want to stop him at every turn. Because orange man bad, you know. Justice shouldn't favor one group over another. Justice should be across the board. It should be across the board. If one group commits a crime, they need to meet the same results as anybody else who commits that same crime. I don't care who they are. But when you show this favoritism, these double standards and whatever, see, you're messing it up. We got this idiot and I don't use that word lightly, we got this idiot mayor of Chicago, Brandon Johnson. He doesn't want to cooperate with Donald Trump about sending the National Guard into Chicago. A lot of people are calling for it, but Brandon Johnson, he's like, I don't agree. Now, Donald Trump, you know, he issued an order in Washington, D.C., which is a city I'm very familiar with. I grew up in that area. I'm very familiar with Washington, D.C. And the crime rate just plummeted. The crime rate went down. People said it was safer than ever to go into Washington, D.C. And you know, I'd like to see that myself. You know, I had a best friend of mine. He got killed in D.C. about 31 years ago. No one ever found his murderer, and D.C. keeps electing these corrupt mayors and whatever. But Donald Trump went in there, took care of business, and now Chicago is saying, hey, come on over here. But Brandon Johnson, he opposes Donald Trump sending the National Guard into Chicago. Because Brandon Johnson, and I don't understand why people don't see that when the president of the United States wants to implement a certain law in an area for the betterment of the people in that area, and you oppose that, you really don't care about your citizens. And why people would, I guarantee you, if Brandon Johnson were running for re-election, if he were running for re-election, you still got some idiots who will vote for him. And he probably win again. And they'll deceive themselves by saying, oh, he's doing a good job. He's doing a good job, like they did with Obama and Joe Biden. And they're not doing a good job. They're not doing a good job. Oh, he's black. Oh, he's liberal. Oh, yeah, we won him. We won her. And every time the people suffer for it, but the very people who are suffering keep electing these people into office. Why is that? You get these people into office, and then you complain about how they are running things, but then you elect them back into office. And even if you don't elect that same person back to office, you elect someone else who is similar. That's why I've been looking at this Tiffany Henyard thing. You know, Tiffany is no longer the mayor of Dalton or the head of the township down there up in Illinois. But they elected another Democrat into their, and people don't see it like, wait a minute, we keep electing these Democrats and whatever. We keep electing these people that keep messing us up. Why do we keep doing this? Because they've been taught that conservative Republicans are the bad guy. And yeah, the people we have on our side might be bad, but they can't be as bad as Republicans, you know. Even though a lot of times conservative Republicans show something very different. Just like Donald Trump is doing now. I think Donald Trump is doing a good job. He has his flaws. He does. But I think he's doing a good job as president. I'm not a fan of his. I'm not, you know, Team Trump, you know. Or maybe I am Team Trump. I don't know. But I didn't vote for him because, you know, I'm a fan of Trump. I may be a fan of his policies, but I'm not really a fan of the man himself. But the problem is not the people who are running our cities and our districts or whatever. It's the people who keep voting them in. And then we have these activist judges who care more about politics than they do about upholding the law. When you are a judge, you are supposed to interpret the law. You are not supposed to come up with your own laws. You don't create the laws. You are supposed to interpret the laws and act accordingly, but a lot of them don't. And this is why our country is so messed up right now. But folks, I know I sound like I'm, kind of in and out and, going off on a tangent and, but these are just some of the things that I've been observing for the past week and a half, 2 weeks or whatever. And I'm like, people, first of all, you need to wake up. Consider who you are voting for. Don't just vote because of charisma or anything like that. You need to vote, because a lot of these people who are voting, they don't even understand. They don't even understand the laws. I mean, just the basic. They don't even understand it. They just vote for someone because of charisma, just like they did with Barack Obama. People were, they wanted to elect Hillary Clinton. They wanted to elect Kamala Harris, and they don't even know what these people stand for. These people get up, they talk against capitalism as if socialism is the better of the two evils, so to speak. A lot of people, they vote because they're going to get something free. They're going to get free stuff, which, if you're getting something free from the government, let me tell you the truth, it's not free. It's not free. But you can keep on going around believing that garbage that, hey, the government is here to help me out, even if I don't want to try to help myself. But the government is here to help me out. That's what the government's for. No, that's not what the government's for. You need to do your due diligence to take care of yourself. The government is supposed to stand out the way. All the government is supposed to do is to interpret the laws as they are stated in the Constitution and to protect us from foreign and domestic enemies. That's the only thing the government's supposed to do. Leave you alone to do your thing. And they're not there to help to feed you if you don't want to work. Now, if you're, incapacitated or something like that, I believe that, you do need some public assistance or whatever. But if you're a person, you're just fat and lazy, don't want to get out, don't want to work, don't want to exercise, the government is not supposed to be helping you. I'm sorry. That might sound cruel. That might sound mean. I don't think it is. But I'm sorry. Nobody should be helping you if you just want to be a lazy person sitting around on your butt all day, having children out of wedlock, feeding them all kinds of garbage and everything with your EBT cards. And then, because the government does that, those are the people you're gonna elect in the next election. Oh, they gave me free food. They gave me an Obama phone. They gave me this. They gave me that. I'm gonna vote for them because they helped me out. And then when someone like me starts talking against it, I thought you were a Christian. Christians are supposed to be helpful. But a lot of people in the government ain't Christian. And being a Christian doesn't mean that I steal from somebody to give to your lazy butt. The Bible says, if you don't work, neither should you eat. And it's not saying if you're unable to work. It's saying if you will not work, if you don't want to work, then you should not eat. And if you don't want to work, then my hard-earned money should not be going to you to feed your face. And you sit around and get fat and everything. And just sit around on your lazy butt watching Netflix all day. I mean, that's just how it should be. But anyway, you all, we got a mess we need to clean up in this country. And it's going to take a lot of work. But people, and I'm talking to the citizens, I ain't talking to the elite right now. People, you need to get in your mind and you need to understand what is really going on. A lot of you are being used by certain elements in our government to push their agenda. And when someone like me or someone else tells you you need to think about what you're thinking about, we get torn down. We get criticized. We get persecuted because we're just simply telling you the truth, because you don't want to do your due diligence to do research or to read or to try to use critical thinking skills to understand the world that you live in. But hey, what am I? I'm just a nondescript black man doing a video while I'm on my way to work. But anyway, you all take care of yourselves. Stay safe out there. This is Vincent E. Brown. I'm signing off. Until the next time, I'll see you on the rebound.